Right, guys. Second topic of the day is the fantastic news. The fantastic news that Spider-Man No Way Home has reached $260 million at the North American box office, which is usually the box office that they go on when they say domestic, they mean US and Canada. They don't care about the rest of us. But yeah, 260 million in that territory alone.
John Campion, you eating humble pie right now.
Yeah, because John. But listen,
Right, what did he say?
He said it was going to be. He didn't see it hitting 200 and 250, so it'd be up.
Yeah. But I don't think any of us did.
No, I did.
I
did.
Yeah, you did originally.
I did originally.
Next time we're gonna have this written down.
Yeah, no, I did. I knew.
But 260.
Remember the conversation we had? I said that the world and his wife watch Spider-Man.
Yeah,
People that not into Marvel, your granny, your girl, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's why I said it would do well. Spider-Man will always do well.
It's true.
Even if it's crap, people will go and see Spider-Man.
Worldwide, it made even more. I think it's gonna touch on it in the article.
600 something million.
Yeah,
601 million.
something like that. So everything being equal, which it might not be because some cinemas are getting shut down all over the world because of the Omicron. We don't know what's going to happen. So, but I'll read you this article from Variety. And it says, Spider-Man No Way Home has generated even more money in its box office debut than initially reported. Sony's epic finale in the Tom Holland-led comic book trilogy.
Finale,
sorry. What did I say?
Finale.
Okay. Tomato.
Yeah. I just had to say it. Sorry, go on.
Collected a mind-blowing 260 million in North American theaters over the weekend, above Sunday's estimates of 253 million. It means that No Way Home has now surpassed Avengers Infinity War, which had 257 million in its opening weekend, to land the second biggest debut in Hollywood history, only behind Avengers Endgame, which had 357 million. That's never going to get caught, ever.
I think it will.
No. That's,
at some point.
At some point, there will be it within the next couple of years.
I'll be honest with you. That's not going to get beat in my life.
Right? Remember we said this.
Remember that I said this.
We said this.
That's
Damien Ashley, Mr. L Rock said. It's going to be beaten.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Avatar 2, 3, and 4 hasn't come out yet, so let's see what happens.
What's that?
Avatar 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
You've got a point.
Yeah.
You've got a point. Internationally, Spider-Man No Way Home captured 340.8 million from 60 overseas markets, pushing its global tally to $600.8 million.
That's not even a week. That's
an opening weekend.
Yeah, but that's not.
Crazy.
That's up until the Wednesday release, because obviously.
No. This is the weekend.
The 340.
Yeah, no. This 340. It's for global tally is 600. That's for the weekend.
No, because opening weekend is still 260, right?
No. But I'm talking about the worldwide tally for the weekend.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just that.
Yeah.
The only thing is you couldn't count that because it did release in European markets on a Wednesday.
But they don't count those days. They call those preview days, so they don't count those days.
Because the total box office is 600 million at the moment.
So it says that internationally captured. You're probably right, actually, because it didn't specify it. Actually, you're probably right.
I think that's the whole.
Yeah. You're probably right.
So within a week.
Yeah.
Well, not even a week. It's not even out a week yet.
Yeah. What day did we go? Wednesday.
Yeah. It's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
By Monday, it made 600
So 6 days.
Yeah.
Monday is
5 days. 5 days.
600
600 million.
It stands as the third biggest worldwide launch ever after Avengers Endgame, 1.2 billion. Again, that's never going to get caught. And Avengers Infinity War with 640 million. Naturally, the newest Marvel adventure has obliterated COVID-era box office benchmarks. Prior to this weekend, no movie had been able to cross 100 million in a single weekend. The best attempt had been another Sony comic book sequel, Venom Let There Be Carnage, which generated 90 million to start. Given those constraints and the pandemic-related headwinds still facing the box office, industry watchers struggle to ballpark opening weekend figures for Spider-Man No Way Home. Concerns over the rapidly spreading Omicron variant of COVID-19 did little to stifle box office revenues. Goes into some other stuff.
Yada.
Right, guys, what do we think of this news?
What do you think of this news?
Yeah.
What do I think?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's friggin' fantastic. As you said, Leon, listen, it's no secret that Spider-Man is the most popular Marvel character.
Yeah.
They made films about him when it wasn't even popular to do a comic book film in the 70s with those crappy Nicholas Hammond movies.
Yeah.
You know,
and
where he's crawling on the wall.
He's on the floor.
Yeah, he's on the floor.
Like the Batman when they're walking out the wall.
I think at the time, that was still like, people hadn't seen that before. They're like, hold a second. He's walking
and it was crappy fighting skills the
fight was terrible.
Just absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
but they were making Spider-Man movies even then.
Yeah. Batman and Spider-Man.
Yep.
Batman for Marvel. For DC. Yeah.
Spider-Man,
for Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel, and this is, I know Marvel were kicking themselves when they sold Spider-Man to Sony, all back in those days. Marvel was literally going to go broke. They had to sell him.
Mm-hmm.
They had to sell him. Otherwise, there'd be no more Marvel. And listen, I mean,
it was they had to do it.
They had to do it. And this is why Sony, even when they were going broke, because there was a point where literally Disney were looking to buy Sony.
Yeah.
Sony didn't want to be bought, but even they wouldn't sell Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They know the value of Spider-Man. They know the value.
Yeah. Do you think they knew it when they bought it though?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because even before any of these films came out, they saw the sales of comics.
Yeah.
And how
cartoon series.
Right, there you go. And how popular Spider-Man was then. You know what I mean? They knew the value. And they and that's why I thought they're never letting go of Spider-Man. Marvel never getting, barring some major mishap, Marvel never getting sole rights to Spider-Man again. No. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Sony are never gonna let Spider-Man go. Never, ever gonna let it go. You know what I mean? And this is why I think we're hearing rumblings, as we're going to touch on other topics, of them keeping this deal alive. Because, and it makes sense, as Leon said in the previous topic when we were talking about this, you're making bags of money together. It makes no sense to now say, all right, time's up, deal's done, let's go our separate ways now.
Yeah.
Like, you're leaving money on the table, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, in a pandemic, for a film to, even if there wasn't a pandemic, for a film to make 260 million in its opening weekend North American box office is phenomenal. Like, again, it beat every single film apart from Avengers Endgame. None of those films opened in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So it goes to show, what could this film have done?
It would have blown.
It would have got very near to Endgame. I don't think it would have beaten Endgame, but it would have got very near to Endgame. Got to remember, and it was still 100 million short of Endgame. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but a lot of people are not going out.
A lot, yeah. But listen, Endgame was an event.
Did Endgame open in China as well?
I can't remember.
I think it did.
Might have.
Because you think this hasn't opened in China.
Yeah.
So that's at least 300. You're probably looking at.
Yes.
We're talking about opening weekend though.
Okay, but so total
opening weekend.
China.
Yeah.
Opening weekend probably 50.
Probably another 50. Probably. Yeah.
And then if we want,
it would have got close to Endgame. It would have. I'm not gonna say. I just don't think it would have beaten it. But listen, I that's just my thought.
Yeah.
If you think it would beat Endgame, listen, that's very valid. It's because no one thought it do. Well, some people did, but.
The reason why I think it would have is because Endgame is not, like I said, it's not everyone. Endgame's just die-hard fans. Coming to see it.
I disagree with you on that one.
But your average woman you say to her Endgame, she'll look at you.
Avengers Endgame.
But just Endgame.
No, but the title is Avengers Endgame.
Even Avengers Endgame.
But that's why I will say it made that much money. Because die-hard, no matter how many die-hard comic book fans, and I remember I was there opening night in LA of all places, and there were people that were there that I saw a 90-year-old woman there. She's not a comic book fan.
Yeah. No, but then in saying that, we went to the cinema. If we had gone on a night, if it wasn't in a pandemic, we wouldn't have got because we got the tickets wrong.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have got.
We wouldn't have got seats.
So,
No, 100%.
these are just the little
100%,
things I'm thinking
100%.
about.
Listen, again,
You're right, probably, but it would have got close.
it would have got very close.
It would have got
I
very
think.
close. It would have got very
and listen,
close.
even if you said to me, no one's seeing these numbers, even if it did beat it, I'd be like, well, boy. Because I'm saying to you, it wasn't just comic book fans that went to go and see Endgame. Yeah. It's the same thing with Spiderman. It wasn't just comic book fans that went to go and see Spiderman.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Yeah. That it's crossed. Spider-Man is one of these characters that have crossed over into
pop culture.
Right. That's the perfect word to use. Perfect words to use.
Popular culture, definitely.
So with that all being said, let me go to Damien first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Damien.
Yeah.
What do you think about these numbers?
I think the one thing for me that really gives me confidence is it says that people still want to go to the cinema. I was thinking about it today when you sent us the article to read. I was like, when you look at entertainment in general, like when you go to like an NFL game or you look at people that buy boxing and pay-per-views and stuff like that, what other entertainment source makes money like cinema does? Like you think, what's the biggest pay-per-view for a boxing match? Like a Floyd Mayweather one, probably. Like how much money do they make on that? Probably 50 mil?
No, a lot more than that. About 100 mil, 150.
150 probably, but best on pay-per-view in terms of... But
we're talking about, that's the whole course of it, so that, you know.
But also, you got to think, like, everyone can tune in to watch that. Like with cinema, no, you can't all sit at home and stream.
Yeah.
You have to go out and book a time and it's going to be over at a certain time period. Whereas a fight happens in there, something happens in there, everyone around the world streaming into it. Cinema having this kind of big resurgence again during the current climate, that's nothing to me but a positive thing for it. You know, because like people are going, I mean, even I was at the mindset that, you know, cinema probably will have an upward scale again for another 6 months, a year, but then people will revert to type, stay at home, get the 100-inch TVs and just, you know, just cram Netflix and whatnot at home. But this says to me, people still want to go and have that big audience experience. People still want to have that collective involvement in the environment where you're sharing that experience of watching a film together. You know, because people could have waited and saw it at home, people could have streamed it. I mean, there was streamers available straight after it came out. People could have done that and they didn't. So making 260 mil says to me, there's nothing but positive for it.
I definitely echo what you say. I will say though, I wouldn't necessarily say that it means cinema is on a resurgence. Because I think it's only certain tentpole movies that can have that effect.
And let's just be honest, it's Marvel movies because unfortunately,
which goes back to what we used to talk. We spoke about in a couple other, you know, about which we're going to touch on again, which is why people are bashing these movies. I have no idea, because these are the movies that are giving you guys money to make your films. You know, these directors like Ridley Scott and whatnot, they're bashing.
Because they're breaking off money and say, go and do your thing.
Right, go and do your... This is what's allowing
the studios... It's not the Ridley Scott's money.
Right. It's not your Martin Scorsese's that are
niche,
making the box office go now. It's Marvel movies. It's DC movies, but mainly Marvel movies. So you lot should actually be kissing the feet of these executives for making these films and making so much money.
Ring.
You know what I mean? But Leon, sorry, did you?
No, to touch on to Leon's point as well. Like, I mean, I'm going to magpie this from the Campier show, but just to touch on to Leon's point, like when you think of those kind of films, the demographic they open up to, like it's every single race, it's every single like sex, it's every single age group. It opens up to everyone. You're not going to start pigeonholing people to go and watch a film. So it enables everyone to have that collective experience together. I mean, you can sit in the front row and see an 8-year-old child, black kid, white kid, Asian kid, in the back row, 90-year-old, black guy, white guy, Asian lady. You know, it's open.
That was like us in the front row.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally. There were 2 guys and they was like 152.
Then
there was us, the 3 different.
And
then there was kids behind us. A boy, guy and his girlfriend.
You know, 100%. And I'm going to touch on that with another of the stories that we've got about that newspaper article, but carry on.
But no, I'm just, for me, it's just a big plus. It's a big plus. I mean, obviously, I'm quite jumping down a little bit by saying cinema's back, but it does give me promise that when there are big tempo movies, people will still show up for it.
100%.
You know, which means that experience of being at the cinema hopefully won't.
Well, there's money at the movies. That's what it shows.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with Leon on that completely. It shows that. Have you given your view?
No.
So please, Mr. Rock.
Oh,
give us your view.
My view about what?
About Spider-Man making 260 million in the opening box office.
I always knew it was going to make a lot of money because,
yes,
like
you
I
did.
said,
You did.
I did. I knew it was going to make a lot of money.
You did.
And it just shows it. I think because we had a conversation, didn't we, about theatre windows getting opened up and is the cinema dying and whatnot. I can't remember when we had that.
Well, it was a while ago.
It was a while ago. But this just shows that there's big epic movies to be made as well. Instead of your Martin Scorsese's, like Avatar and films that are experiences. Because if you remember, when we went to the cinema as children or younger people, they were experiences. So when you had your your Beverly Hills Cop, or you had your Eddie Murphy films, your Predators or whatever, Star Wars, they immersive film, not stuff that you can watch on TV. Like if you to see Star Wars on the big screen, you watch it now, just on the big screen because it's epic. Avatar. When I went to see Avatar, I was amazed. I thought it was brilliant. That's the one film I've seen about 3 times at the cinema. I went to the IMAX because obviously the 3D and whatnot, and you were submerged. So I'm all about experiences. So like when you see Death on the Nile and them kind of things, I don't need to be in the cinema to get that.
To get that, for me, that's not. I echo 100%.
Back to the Futures, Indiana Jones.
And again, we're going to touch on this quite a lot when we go into the other story.
Okay. I think it just means that these directors and these script writers need to get their finger out and really start pushing some good theatrical content. Like good films.
Yeah. I think, and I just think, as I said earlier, they need to stop bashing Marvel films. They need to stop doing it. This is what's giving the studios.
It's just a small
the money to co-sign your films. Don't bash them, because if these films go, these films are basically, think about the last 10 years and how much money comic book films have made, and with that money, what the state of cinema would be. Do you know what I mean?
Well, what's the biggest release to come out in the last 10 years
Avengers
that wasn't some sort of superhero Marvel?
The only ones that weren't Marvel films were the Star Wars films. And again, you're talking about epic. Because if you want to talk, if people, we'll go off on a tangent, but quickly, if people want to say, oh, well, Marvel films are popcorn films, they're not real cinema, they're like a roller coaster ride. Well, then you've got to make that same argument about Star Wars. You've got to make the same, because that is a similar experience that people have.
They're all roller coaster rides.
But
how is Indiana Jones not a roller coaster ride?
Right.
For example,
Jurassic Park is the
Jurassic Park.
Thank you. And my thing is this: I hate when these guys come out and say, as Martin Scorsese did, as Ridley Scott said, that these films are not cinema. It is not up to you to decide what is cinema. It is the audience that decides what is cinema.
The numbers.
It is the audience that decides what is cinema. You know what I mean? If no one wants to pay to watch your films, guess what? Your film is not cinema. It's as simple as that. It's the audience that dictates, not you, not the producers. It's the audience that dictates what is cinema. So you guys need to get your head out of your asses and realize that this is what the people want at the end of the day. And it's not just comic book heads, because everyone's sucked in that.
Yeah.
My missus never used to watch.
Who knew about Iron Man? Iron Man was nothing. No, but I'm talking
the general public.
The general public. Right. Iron Man was absolutely nothing.
Iron Man was a B-level character, even in Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you remember that old... Bro, the old Marvel, the old cartoon. My God,
let me just say this quickly because we spoke about Spider-Man being sold off. So what happened was when Marvel were going broke, they sold off a lot of their characters, their A-list characters, which obviously was Spider-Man being one of them. Because they did that, when it came to making this whole MCU, they had to use some of their weaker characters, like Iron Man, like a Captain America was not an A-class.
No,
he was not.
Captain America was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wasn't. I know it feels like it, but he wasn't. He was a B, again, like Iron Man. He was a B level character. Hawkeye and Black Widow, they were C level. They weren't even B.
Yeah.
The only one that was A was the Hulk.
Yeah,
he was the only one, and for the immediate Avengers movies. He was the only A level one. Do you know what I mean?
But they reinvented them all.
Right. Do you see what I'm saying?
Rebranded them.
Thank you.
Made them cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, this and now that they're getting some of their characters back, they've got a lot of their characters back now. They can really push. They can really, really push. And for me, it only spells, as you said earlier, that if everyone can go back into the cinema, that these films are just going to keep making more and more money for these studios, which is great because then they have the money to pump out other content.
And to invest in good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And to touch on what you said about in terms of characters as well, like, it's not like they haven't listened to the audience, because if you look at the reinvention of Thor, from the first two movies to Ragnarok, they changed it to appeal to a wider audience. They made him funnier. They changed the way he carried himself because of how do we open this up to an audience that wants to be intrigued by him, because it's not working with the first two movies.
Yeah.
I never cared about Thor.
Yeah.
Until I saw...
A lot of people didn't.
Until I saw Hemsworth.
I'm talking about the first two movies compared to Ragnarok.
I like the first one. I did like the first one.
So did I.
The second one was meh.
Yeah.
That's understand to the point where Chris Hemsworth didn't even want to do it anymore. And he said the only way I'll do it is if you let me have fun with the character, which is why they let him do what he did in Ragnarok. And the rest is history, because now he's going to do the same thing in the next Thor movie, But yeah, you're right. Like, Marvel do listen. This is why we've had an epic in Spider-Man, because they listen to what people want.
They wanted to see Toby. They wanted to see Holland
and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, they wanted to see them. They wanted to see all the bad guys.
Do you know what I mean?
They were crying for William Dafoe to come back.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's great news, and I echo what Damien says, and I hope it does mean that, once we get over, if we do ever, this pandemic, that cinema can really make a resurgence, because I'll just quickly mention something. My first cinematic experience was at the age of 15 or 16, very late to the party, because I was broke. My parents were broke, and not that these guys were any richer, but they just managed to get to the cinema. I didn't till I was about 15, 16, and the first film I saw at the cinema was Turtles 3.
Wow.
That was Turtles 3.
You got there real late.
Yeah, real late. But as a consequence, as these two know, I more than make up for that now.
Oh yeah,
you've seen it all.
Yeah,
you've done the back catalogue.
I have like one movie, Larry's 50.
I've already seen Spider-Man twice now, and I'm gonna go watch it a third time on Wednesday with the missus.
Okay, nice.
So
nice.
There you go. But so guys, what do you think about Spider-Man making 260 million at the American box office in its opening weekend? It's phenomenal to us. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be a resurgence of cinema? Just let us know what you think in the comments down below.